The actual power adapter.
Where is it?
It's over by the ghost machine.
Everybody look busy.
Behind the scenes, huh?
Working on the road over here.
This is Ted, the directorial debut. He's getting Neville. This is about Neville's 100th movie. It's his first movie with his clothes on, so we're really impressed. We'll see how long before he comes out of his shirt and starts dancing. The music, get down on it. Come on, Neville, get down on it.
Just like
Oh, they've got TV monitors.
here's the James Standard, right?
This right here is my stunt double. You can see the similarities right now.
I'm claustrophobic. I gotta go.
I think they're doing some kind of I think they're doing some kind of check.
I think they need a black guy up there, though, huh? And now I'm chasing someone around. I see his shoulder pads.
See, what happens is when Neville hits me, he's going to pull back, and when he starts to come forward, they're going to stick in my stunt double. And
I don't need
sit
this
there,
yet.
and he's going to
Not
take
yet,
a punch
not
for me.
I thought the battery was going to just die.
Oh. Okay.
Hey James,
Thank you.
Daryl, she's going to be doing your makeup today. Make sure you get that on film. Get that every
He's
minute
like,
of it.
oh yeah.
Sit down. Every minute of it.
You're not going to use the big powder puff, are you?
Is that a problem?
No, okay, go ahead.
The big powder puff? Oh my God. Here, let's do it.
Monitor's going to go away for a minute.
It's going under the hands. You work with a rough crowd.
Oh, no, they're going to wear me out for this one.
Yeah, good job.
See, I've got great skin. I don't need makeup.
No, he's a natural born beauty.
Not much makeup.
Not much.
You going to put red lipstick on it?
So show them your debut?
Yes. Blue eyeshadow. See that? Neville, the kind of eyeshadow you wore last night, the blue.
Oh,
that dark stuff. You know, your RuPaul.
Oh, see now it's starting to look like a shot. Okay, I knew that one originally. Despite your best friend. That's right. In spite of myself. Okay, so.
Huh? I can't hear you. There's something ringing in my
No.
head.
How was Woodstock? Okay, so Charlie.
And really, it's not going
Charlie's still here? Charlie. Yes, sir. Okay, so things that happen to make
This is the wide shot. Okay. So this all needs light. And he needs more fill.
Yep.
No problem. Color behind his head on that icky wall. Clean up the cables. I'm going to address some cameras down into the shot also.
So you're not going to see beyond that wall there, are you?
Yeah,
Just came up.
Hey, Jan.
Never mind on that light. Please, sir.
Okay.
Chocolate number 2.
And I'm not going to see them get much.
Don't forget, I get to do some of y'all's reviews.
Well, I think we should move that rack a little bit.
Payback is hell. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Do you guys have insurance on that camera? In case you break
Ted, I cannot believe you were actually filming this.
I'm just doing what I'm told. It's not such a hard job though when you get the.
What is your URL at your website?
Oh, it's Pretty Black Boys.
Okay. Okay.
Hotchocolate.com. Come on, James, you can smile.
Those areas that there's light that's not showing up here.
How about now?
It's a monster because I see it here in the iPad very well.
This is just for your wife, that's all.
I'm seeing detail in there and stuff. I'm seeing that.
Put it on bars again.
I think it'll mind. It should be up there. according to Dan Markoff. Did you get your little education from Dan Markoff?
No, unfortunately, I got it from Boo.
Well, who got it from the engineer who taught Dan Markoff? You go to blue, screen only. These two should match, and then these two should match.
I thought it was this should match that bottom one, and this should match that bottom one.
The way he was talking, these two should match. One is your chroma, and the other one is your hue.
Yeah, but it's this bar is separate from that bar.
Right.
So these two match, and these two match, and that's phase. Just like this.
Right.
So this bar.
See, that's what's weird.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Well, he is looking pretty.
going back to ball bearings.
You can't see it in the camera though, but boy, in real life, it ain't bad. Yeah, do this every day.
Okay, kid, it's gonna be over. So,
Where you don't see detail in here, you
They
see
say I have an
detail in
internal
the
wireless card. It came with it, but it won't ever
I know this one.
boot up. So I'm gonna have to get out of your
So you want color back in there?
yeah, get rid of that.
Just on that? What about these? Because it's one light hitting all that. You want me to add a light to hit just that and a light to hit that?
Do what?
Okay. I have one light just kind of bashing.
Oh, yeah, there should be two.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
One for the one for
for up
wall,
here
and
and
then
one for
something
down
for
there.
the devices.
Okay, so in devices, to make that a true white light, correct?
You start that way.
Maybe not. Okay, so that one tweet that we had, yeah, it's still back there. Okay, let's bring it around here and set it back here. Okay. And we're going to light the cameras with color on it.
Well, see, I'm done. I look great, and you can't tell the difference.
I don't know, James. You know,
You are awfully pretty, boy.
James, I never thought you could get any more pretty.
Oh,
It is
look
really
at
not.
that. Oh my goodness.
Breaking it. And then we might want to break that with clothespins or
Okay. Now I'm all prettied up. Don't hate how pretty I am. I was born this way.
Do we have a Lexmark
Yeah, he does.
printer that isn't quite so pale?
Well, he's looking at me. He's running, boy.
What's that? Does Lexmark make a printer that isn't white, either gray or blue or
Black.
They have that one black one.
Yes. Yes.
That's the Lexmark that's black.
That's the only dark one. That's okay. We'll work with the colors of this because this is the one we're featuring, right?
That's our hero. One of our. That's the people we're going to talk to.
Ah, great. Okay, let's see this thing.
I can plug this one in. I'll put it.
We may be able to see. Dink. Another costly lighting delay. Things you can't tell me.
Let's see, I'm thinking about maybe.
His battery's going dead pretty quick.
Okay, how's that?
Yo.
That cart that just came into play, could you slide that camera right, please?
Same angle then?
I think so. Yeah, like so.
Did you?
Did you?
No, just camera picture. I don't even know if this thing's got a card in it. Oh, yeah. If you can give me a card, I'll put one in here.
What other items?
Yeah, but
Printers,
there's a
cameras,
that's true.
Leprechauns. Do we have any leprechauns?
good on leprechauns.
Okay, good.
See what that one's doing?
They're not evil leprechauns. Parent printers.
But now we're not hitting these guys.
Nice place, Jim.
Look at you, Neville.
By the way, we do have a 4x4 D4. I got the duckbills on the right here.
Right. Yeah, right in front.
He's got to populate this foreground here with the cameras and stuff. Yeah, we can lay it out there. It won't hurt. All right. Gimme.
Good thing there's an engineer.
Okay, so the video camera moves towards the back right-hand corner. And rotate it clockwise, please. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Look, there. And then the silver Kodak goes between, comes,
Take the cover off of it.
comes straight forward. Keep coming, and slide with yourself.
Figure out where I can put my.
Good, there. And then this PDA that he's about to hand you will go in front of the Kodak. Yeah, if it sets up at a 45.
Well, it probably is. I mean, I'm not that big of an audio place, but I'm sure it's I'm sure it's a fishing rod holder. Oh, probably. I mean, that's all. Yeah, that's all it is.
The difference is they milled this down. It doesn't have thread. Oh, it does have.
No, it does have thread. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure it's right off the shelf.
Yeah, maybe not quite so much. Well, a little bit good, but
Head out to Walmart so you can get extra 20% off deals.
come on, see what it does.
See, I should have my brother here. He's an actor. He could be my stand-in.
Yes, sir. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, that's kind of cool. You want a special on those?
I think
Maybe like a pool light,
I think like a rich green
a
color.
rich green and a full white, possibly.
Well, I kind of like what the key is doing to it.
Hey, Vince.
We'll just,
More of a
Vince,
softer.
can you give me the power cord for this thing? It's actually plugged in at the middle table. I'm bringing it over here.
Okay, let's take that middle sheet that we got
The middle
there,
table
put it on
over there,
stand,
but where Neville's
and
at.
then we'll drop it down and
See if you want
What do we
that.
have in the way of party gels?
oh, we got some stuff.
You want party gel?
Actually, I went party gel shopping. It actually wasn't. It was for elephant, but not for this particular elephant project.
Neville? If you're not busy, sir.
Hey, you gotta be careful. Neville may have a new job coming
I
next
know.
week.
That was like a good hand, didn't it?
This is what I got. This is what I got.
Is there a place to plug it in right back here?
Inspiring. Get blue.
Hang on.
So.
So are these the same people that's going to come to Lexington or wherever else?
No. See, you're a much bigger star than
James?
those people.
Oh,
This will speed.
Yes.
Here's
Can
the
I
difference.
swap you out here and see what you look like in the hot seat?
the hot seat.
And just look at me right here. So we're going to cut this.
Here, plug. Listen, I think it plugs in over here.
Dramatically down.
Okay, so it'll be a solid.
And then we'll see what happens when we add some color to
Use this backlight a little.
Yeah. Well, first we'll see what color
What color on it?
Thank you.
Oh, what color?
let's look what happens with some orange to start with.
A type of orange?
Type of orange. It could even be full orange.
Okay, well, I do have a very nice.
Oh, is this surprise pink or something?
This is stuff that I got
Let's
for.
see what this does.
Okay.
Sorry.
We got some.
Let's see what happens with this.
Here, get it. You did. This one's backlight, right? It's like a road.
Back there.
Slap that on
I'm just gonna rake some green across here. Kind of a backlight.
You're looking good,
green
James.
tee.
You want me to give you my action pose?
That's right.
I'll show you one that almost got me discovered. It was this.
Very nice.
Almost got me discovered.
Okay, there's
what?
the rose.
No, that's not it.
Is that a 6 name? There's a rose red?
No. Here, I'm going to bring you a whole pile of things.
Wait, that is the whole pile.
Yeah, see that way you can.
Okay. Do we want to go in the rose direction?
No, that was all wrong. I can't believe I had that idea.
Get you one bad idea out there first, and then we got nothing but a smooth day.
That's right.
Here is more of a straw.
No, bug gut.
But that yellow doesn't work.
You know, hot pink is my color. It's not
We don't doubt that, James.
But essentially to make it well,
And lace.
Let's see a richer sort of party blue.
He's like party blue.
Lewis party blue. In other words, you're saying something like Roscoe 67.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
He's been pushing the Roscoe 67. I think he's.
See, I'm already getting my fan club hit.
I know, I see that.
Now, this is too much. I do have a lighter flavor of the same type. It's Roscoe 67. By the way,
Go to 2 tubes on that. Is that 1 tube?
It's one low right now.
background light, back over here is Roscoe 67. It's hitting a wall.
Okay.
So we'll be kind of motivated.
Would you just buy some Roscoe 67 stock or something?
Yeah, that's good, Charlie.
Go to
We noticed in the background here we got the 2 techies trying to figure out how to turn on that laptop. Like, so if you push this here button here and you notice this here button will
Because by the time I get the green, then I want to put it
major, yeah, you got the G keys now.
Bob Selby
Nervous
talking
all of a
about
sudden.
Roscoe 67.
I think James all of a sudden realizes that he's going to be in front of a lot of people.
He's not just going to be in front of a lot of people, he's from Michael Death.
Style.
Yeah. Michael does want to zoom in.
He's
on
going to
that
say,
back.
and by the way, as a postscript, I got a resume in my pocket.
Me and my comment on me. You don't know how hard
I know.
to get to this level.
You and it's about sweetness, huh?
66, you know, just go fly it. I don't know what they're thinking in 66.
Turn it off, James.
That's full spot.
Okay, turn it off.
Here's green kicks.
Off.
Huh? That's nice. Let me see it off and on. Okay, good. Leave that on.
What'd I do?
Around here, I thought
Wrong PMS color.
It's crazy what it really looks like in life. And then look through the monitor. It's just amazing. James looks pretty.
Now, Mr. Blackowitz? Dr. Blackowitz?
It's funny when James and I were going next door. It's like this.
Is this getting
Cool.
Oh, he wanted a
Let me show you the different combs.
definite cut. Is that what you're doing?
This would be the widest.
It's cool. No, it's just,
I'll show them.
Yeah, they're just compositionally with what's in the
Finish
this
out there.
this sports a Lexmark with PDA cameras, and then like so, a little bit of printer, a little bit of out of focus cameras. And then closest.
Did y'all want to show the Larkin camera we're going to be that we're
Yeah, we probably should have that out there
I
somewhere.
think so.
no.
Can you show the wide so we can set this?
That doubles in. I think it's gonna be a solid.
Yeah.
10K.
Oh, definitely.
Is that your wide, Sebastian?
That's probably
Yeah, that's probably.
that's the star of the show here.
Unless they have a lab or a place similar to this. Probably add.
Is that the wide?
Yes, this is the wide.
James, you're not going to try to recreating those problems, are you, on that one? Because that's a different one. We changed that one out.
There. Now look in your eyepiece. See if it looks better in your eyepiece.
I
Okay.
think it needs to be
Okay. So we probably ought to just analyze it.
but don't hit the printers with it.
Right.
Are you on the wide right now?
In fact, what's on the printers right now? That cleaning up there?
Yeah. So 2 things. Get the other midget. Right. I said midget on a pigeon. Not on a pigeon. Actually, a midget on a pigeon, James, would be good. Midget on a pigeon. On the spud, the pancake, and we'll just set it on the table. And we're going to replace that mirror that Wilson set.
What's that?
Oh, big man in here. Hey, Brian.
What's up, Tish? Excuse me, guys.
You don't know how pretty James looks until you go see him in person.
Yeah.
I mean, he is pretty.
You look like Stuart Scott on ESPN.
I think of Muhammad Ali.
Nah.
Denzel.
More like Urkel.
Oh, man.
And to not hold your breath, that we might not make it. We have to stop the video. So it would only be a 2-hour thing if we went over there at all. And so basically he's on 10, he's available. And if I we're gonna get over there before long. Okay. But I mean, if we slow down.
This guy back here. I got an open hole right here.
They last cool too.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
If you were the cables that are coming down under that background desk, so those could just be dressed up. You might need some tape. Say something.
We can certainly search for
The dirtiest area of the lab was now.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
That's the one area.
Yeah, that's working better with the solid, you guys.
maybe that's why they wanted it.
Yeah, we're gonna really, you know what? I'm gonna get you Snoop. I know it's kind of wild and wacky, but get the Snoop for it.
And what do you want? Do we want to limit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to call him and ask him. Let me know. It'll depend on.
We only have either the printer I have one right there.
Oh, no, that's okay. We'll deal with this. Okay.
All right.
Hey, Neville. Oh, I was going to say, can you get me another tape? But are you going to record with that one too?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Yeah.
It's at 58 minutes and I don't know how much they want.
little things, you know.
Blue.
Better you than me.
I have to go back and look at the original reel to see.
I know you really want to make this
Glad you working today, huh?
No, I don't think there's another tape. We had one more tape and it's gone with the 50.
This is the only tape?
And the tape that's
Oh,
in here.
okay.
But then the battery is fully charged and I don't know how long.
Oh, I'll have this.
Lori told
then
Bob
there
to
you
get Steve on the call.
But this will be the last tape.
Okay.
Mr. Neville.
Yes. Here you go.
So you know the first question I'm going to ask is, how come there's no text in your name? I see you sitting in Neville's up again, but everybody else.
He's my standby cameraman right here.
Okay.
Behind the scenes.
Vince is my secondary makeup.
And he's a beautiful one at that.
You actually look pretty good on that TV there, James.
Michelle's going to be the
I think we're getting very, very
Michelle, coffee.
That's horrible.
Julian's in charge of my toes.
Whew, that's a hard job right there, too.
So, Bob, how long do you think it's going to be? I mean, just the video itself.
Oh, it's probably going to be 3 minutes.
Okay. Can you talk for 3 minutes? You going to be asking questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Way better.
Very good. Thank you, Chris.
Critical level.
Okay. Things that are not good. This plain light color.
Kill it?
I'm sorry?
Well, make it orange. Start with.
Okay. That is actually one light from this other. Still one light.
See that smile?
Put it on the bottom of the
Yeah,
door.
put it on the bottom.
You still need to take that down by at least. But actually, I did not put a single one. Oh, you did?
So let's make it triple play.
There's going to be a lot of edits in this.
I can talk about how good I can talk about how good I make you look.
That's good.
You want to?
So you owe it all to me?
Well, what else is it doing? Let's see what it looks like.
It's just one light hitting back there with blue on it. We could make a text check on it.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's roll. That's actually this right here. Here it is. Off. That's on.
On's better than off, but maybe
You like it off?
maybe sconce it a bit, maybe cram the doors down on it. How do you do it?
They get more.
I know it works because people always tell us how it does. Yeah, and then what? Yes, more like that. Aha! See? How did that?
We just break it up.
Yeah, yeah. Break it up might be better. And what else is spilling over there? You getting side spill off the lamp or something?
Now let me.
Okay.
It might need to be like.
Do we have that large product now?
No, he's
Yeah.
yeah. Sebastian, yeah. You were going to put the Larkin camera out, and you told him not to put the Larkin camera out?
We might want to replace the Panasonic with
Oh,
the
that's
Larkin.
fine. If you want to replace the product, sure. Yeah, go ahead. It's just the only three we're seeing are the PDA,
I don't know.
the Sony that's set on its head, and the video camera. So any one of those three can be replaced.
Larkin is one of the other vendors we're going to talk to.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then after that,
James, did you look at the
We're ready. In fact, we had to leave. I'd love to get a shot at you using one. Because we're actually using it.
This is going to be a 2x3.
Yeah, it's just
Actually, you don't want to knock it off from here, but you want to knock it off like back there. Okay. Yeah, the key light.
Yeah, Mr. Martin's not
That's it, backlight.
No, I'm not sure what's
want to knock it off the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the richness. I don't mind what I don't know what kind of thing is, so.
Well, it'll be at least two of them. But you guys wait for me. He is our shot. They're going to be just close. And then John,
Hey, Nev.
we need to rinse it up.
You know, I may not use all the time if you want to get that one. I was just not thinking about it because 53 more minutes.
You like it? Just the bottom, right? I can't see right now. Okay. Can we see down there now?
What's the fellow's name in the white shirt?
Vince.
Excuse me, Vince. Could you step out for just 1 second, please?
Dang it.
Warm that up down there.
Vincent and Vance in the same room.
It's actually a combination of straw and
We'll do the Valentine's.
Oh.
It's better than when Holmes is around because then we both are always going, huh?
Okay, Vince, thank you. You can continue your
Although
work.
there are a whole lot of alternate names you can use for that other.
Yeah, but I always mix company and shoulder within a 5 mile. How close are we?
Very close.
I feel like I could tell you anything.
I'm going to check my back focus, and then I
Very
think
moving.
as soon as we can get a decent screen up on that laptop up there, then we will be ready to go.
I think you're going to be over. Carol. Yes.
Oh, back focus, 2 cameras.
Good.
I was going to say, y'all have all kinds of back focus.
Well, the back focus is nothing. I thought like I had 2 was difficult.
No, where he says he hasn't really had the back focus.
It's a Panavision thing.
Yeah. It's all doing something.
He's doing something, but it's not making a real hard cut.
Well, just when he goes a bigger flag and come out,
I think it's more of a.
work out to here.
I think it's more of a cider type thing.
That's why I went with a small flag.
Yeah, so we don't want to knock that down. We like these.
No, actually,
we bought down there was some
that big
probably
rare
cool
by the boys' heads over there.
handheld lens collimator at Century Precision.
Sebastian, that's good.
Just stick it on the front of the windows. Yes, I'm Sebastian. Yes, sir. Could you come check them out?
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to throw a cutter on here or something.
I think it's more of a, it would take light off the front of the black printer,
Yeah.
but more of a cider.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking.
Open kind of
I was
thing.
thinking it'd be a 2x3 or tool further out.
Would you like that?
don't
I guess I didn't hear what we
know.
were trying to. I thought we were just trying to cut off the top.
It
For,
does something.
for communication business that we're in, not doing too well.
No, you're supposed to just scream. Start screaming. That's
Charlie,
that's some people. That's how some.
what do you mind? Oh, but you're better than working with Farrell Shinnick.
Bill didn't say 2 words.
You have to mind read him.
Do you know he can play the French horn?
No.
Do you know he's fluent in French?
No. I don't know he's fluent in French, but I knew he played the French horn.
There's a lot more Farrell than most people say.
Does he still keep up with the French horn?
I don't know.
Not going to use it, Ted?
Hey, Chris?
Yes,
A couple more cable wrangling issues
right.
back there. Sure. Above
no.
the desk,
No.
there's one that drops down from the grid.
Sorry.
Yeah, that, and then, there was Wilson stealing your thunder.
No, but you think they're ready for the spin special effect that I was working on?
I was thinking Cheryl City French horn player.
Really? It's all city.
Okay,
All City.
Mr. Blue,
All City.
Yes, sir.
I believe this will be your
Out of
doing
4
it.
schools.
James, if you could look at Bob here.
Stand about right here.
Yeah, right there, perfect.
Sebastian, tell me this is.
I'm just here to.
Trying to squeeze off the shotgun in the break room.
I like those people.
Okay.
It's a nice smile.
Have you look at it.
You know, I've been working on this smile for 45 years, and I'm not even 30.
Something that might come in
Cool.
Thursday, payroll stuff.
That's a good answer.
well, this
Can you see you look ready, Bob, please? Yeah, that's a good outline.
But it is along those lines.
So what does CART stand for?
CART stands for Customer Assistance and Resolution Team. You know how to work
I
better.
thought it was
if you want
Championship
like a
Auto
high
Racing Team.
grade
Close
type.
the door.
You know what? I totally agree with you.
I mean, you're just, I mean, I appreciate you. That's for sure.
You can have that.
Yeah, if I can make it happen.
Just don't bring it back.
Okay.
Okay, and James, did you have a tape? We're already barred in town?
We're already bars and time.
Okay.
Focus.
$8. You can either choose color photography or info.
Let me know when I can have James for a minute.
Now's your chance.
Okay. James, come this way. Drop this down for your shirt.
Pair of sneakers? This is the Bismarck.
Very nice, Chris. You don't forget.
Is this little camera behind the PDA? That's the vendor that you're going to go visit with?
That wee one?
The wee one.
The wee, yes. Why don't we put it in the...
Does it have a little thing that sits in? Put it there. It's weed. No, so this way it gets light up. It is. I think that's its selling point. Digital cameras come in 3 sizes. Wee, a bit more wee, and freaking huge.
No, I hate the wee one.
So if everybody would please turn their cell phones to silence. Appreciate it, thank you. Pagers, and so forth. Sebastian. I'm sorry.
The other boys are scanning for exception, so I would just be right outside.
Right. But I'm just gonna be right outside if you need a gripper
Okay.
guy.
Okay, thank you, James.
You're ready, right?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Pardon me?
There's phones all over this flat.
Yeah, it might be
Yeah.
kind of hard.
Yep.
I haven't heard any.
I haven't heard any rings. Yeah, you won't.
It's
Rolling.
before, it's before 10.
James, let's lose your Dell ID tag clip there. Thank you.
Let me know when Boom is in frame.
And you're clear. Okay. So, here we go, folks. And camera speed.
Hold on a second.
Holding on a second.
Hook up audio.
Let me know when.
Anytime.
Okay. And go ahead.
Hey, James, tell me your name.
My name is James Page, Jr.
And tell us a little bit about the CART Lab. First, why don't you tell us what it stands for?
CART stands for Customer Assistance and Resolution Team. We're a group that Dell put together about 5 years ago to address customers' issues with peripheral devices. Dell is a company that focuses on PCs, but we do sell a whole lot of other things besides PCs, printers, PDAs, cameras, etc. Dell was selling a lot of these products, but they weren't being tested, so the compatibility of the peripheral devices in our computers were kind of an unknown until they got to the customer's site, and they needed to find out that it was a great pairing of the peripheral and the computer world was not. Our team came along to actually...
I'm sorry, James. I'm gonna jump in here for a second.
Okay.
A couple of things.
That's fine.
You seem like a guy who normally talks with his hands. So go ahead.
Okay.
You don't have to sit on your hands. It's cool.
Okay.
Talk with your hands.
Be animated.
And also, it's okay to stop when you've said what you want to say.
Okay.
You don't have to fill space. It's not like you're giving a presentation.
Okay.
So just say what you want to say and then just stop.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. Let's just kind of take it from the top again. Also, do you want a couple questions for Bob? Is it this sort of thing, or is that too much?
Probably too much.
Okay. And I was thinking that, like, when he listed off the things that, the items that they test, we could do it in this frame, so you do this frame,
This national
or this frame, and then you could go. Okay. Okay. So we don't do that first.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a PC, it's a computer. Oh, yeah.
And
Hey, James, tell us a little bit about the CART Lab. How did it come about?
The CART Lab came about because of customers, because of Dell wanting to drop the cost of peripheral, the total cost of ownership for peripherals. We would have customers that Dell would sell.
Let's start over.
Let's start over.
That's okay. So tell us about the CART Lab. First, what is it, and how did it come about?
CART is a group that came about because of Dell's need to have peripherals tested with our computers. We would sell computers and we'd sell printers, and the compatibility of the two weren't known until they actually got to the customer's desk. We actually started testing out of request from our marketing team. Our marketing guys would say that a printer was killing us. The calls for printers were killing us. From there, we started working with vendors and actually got a lab that was funded by the vendors. The vendors are in this lab because they're getting something back. They're getting the fact that their product is being tested by all Dell computers, and there's no other place that I know of that a vendor can be assured that their products are going to be tested with pre-release, post-release, and current Dell computers.
Okay, let's go back a little bit. And why did this come about? I mean, what was the real issue?
Customer focus, the fact that we want to keep our customers satisfied, and the fact that that no one was focusing on the smaller, the little things that make the customers happy. We have a lot of groups that are focusing on the larger picture, the engineering, the general documentation, but no one was really focusing on that customer usage, the customer satisfaction, the customer's delight. Customers get computers, they want to set it on their desk, they want to be happy with it, they want to do exactly what they want. and they don't want a lot of the hassles that come with owning a computer normally.
Okay, let's step back even further. Before the envision of the CART lab, what was the problem that customers were experiencing?
A customer would get a new printer, let's say a Lexmark.
And start that off with before the CART lab. Before we started doing this work in the CART lab.
In a
customers.
Okay.
Before we start doing the work in the CART lab, the customers would get a Lexmark computer, and they set it up with their Dell computer, and the compatibility of the two was not quite right. USB connection was a little bit off, or the parallel connection was a little bit off. The user's experience flowing from the documentation from setting up the Dell computer to setting up the peripheral printer was didn't match completely. So our lab actually takes that entire experience from the moment you get your PC box, you start unpacking it, and you get your printer box and you start unpacking it. It should be a seamless flow, seamless connection, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a PDA or a camera or a printer. It should be seamless, and that's what our lab is here to do, to make sure that that customer's interaction from the moment they get it all the way till they start doing something productive with their computer is seamless, and they're able to use they have what they need. They have their paper, they have their cables, they have everything they need, and they don't need to call up Dell to get little things or to help improve their experience.
When a customer would, let's say, open a box, connect a printer, they'd have an issue, what would happen? Would they call Dell, go online?
Yeah, normally they'd unpack their box, they'd unpack their printer, and they'd realize that they don't have a parallel cable, or they don't have a USB cable for their printer. They'd have to call up Dell, say, we didn't realize that this printer did not come with a cable. Can you ship us one? So the alternatives were, they were either to run to a retail store, which is money that Dell wasn't getting, frankly, or they would go to call up Dell, wait to have something shipped to them, and actually get it at that measure. We're really trying to make it a one-stop shop, so the customer comes to Dell, they make sure they get everything they need, and they get that entire experience delivered to them at one time.
Okay.
Bob, there was a printer noise or something in the background on that.
Let's do that again. If you can kind of make it a little more concise, I mean, let's kind of think about this thing.
As soon as we're done, we'll just come down the hall.
Dance? Dance, y'all.
You've lost your smile. From the top. If you can think about trying to focus on me.
Okay.
Hey James, tell us about what it was like way back when a customer would open up a box and there would be issues.
The customer would get their box, and they'd unpack their computer, and they'd unpack their printer, and they wouldn't have everything they need to be satisfied. The customer experience wasn't there.
Let's do that one more time if you can kind of say, before the end of the inception of the CART lab.
Okay.
Scenario would be a customer.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
So, Hey James, tell us a little bit about before the envision of the cart lab, the customer would experience probably wouldn't be the best.
Yeah, before the cart lab came around, customers would get their product, they'd be excited because they got a brand new Dell computer, and they'd be excited because they've got a brand new printer. They'd hook them up together and they'd realize they were missing something, and it just drops the whole experience of owning a brand new computer to a much lower level than what they anticipated.
So tell us about why the cart lab.
The cart lab is here to make sure that that entire customer experience is put together. We know that the vendors have system tests. We know that Dell has system tests. But when you get the two products together, you're going to have issues that didn't manifest themselves in that separate environment. Our group is here to make sure that when you put them together, you get a complete picture of how the user is really going to use the product.
Tell us a little bit about the partnership. I mean, how did that come about, the relationship?
The partnership really came back from a win-win focused on the customer. The customers, because...
It's okay. Let's talk about the relationship with your partners, not, I guess, their vendors. How did that come about?
The relationship came back because we really wanted a win-win with the customers. Dell customers and the vendors are focused on the customers, but we can't really focus on the solution if we're not playing in the same sandbox, if you will. We wanted to find a way so that when the customer got their product and they started working with it, that the entire solution would be there.
It's okay.
Really don't know.
So who contacted whom first? I mean, was it Dell contacting the vendor about this vision, or was it the vendor contacting Dell?
It was Dell contacting the vendors. Dell sells a lot of products through our S&P website, and unfortunately, it's really hard for us to keep it was really hard for us to ensure that every product was compatible with every system without a separate organization that was focused on that specific issue, that was focused on making sure that the entire solution was tested. We put a business plan together, and it was a proposal to the vendors. Here's what we're able to do. We're gonna put people, we're gonna put products, and we're gonna need your product. We're gonna need your products to test the entire solutions. We started working with the vendors, and we started getting pre-release products. We started getting pre-release documentation. We started getting pre-release CD-ROMs. We started giving the vendors feedback on what they wanted early.
Can you give us some examples about how this has been such a win-win for the customer?
Yeah, we actually were testing one product. It was a camera by a company.
You can go ahead and mention the company.
Okay,
so why don't you start over? So tell us, some real life scenarios.
Okay, one of the great wins that came from the lab is that Dell had to choose a promotion for a camera. We were dropped a box of maybe 7 or 8 cameras on our desk and told the next day we have to have one picked out. We went through all the cameras in a very short period of time and came to one company. The company was Larkin. We started testing the Larkin camera, and while it was a great camera, at the time it just wasn't perfect for the customer. When we realized that we still had issues, we called up Larkin and we got a hold of a program manager and an engineer in Taiwan. We worked the issues, we drove the issues, and identified exactly what the issues were back to Larkin in Taiwan. The issues weren't technical issues, they were more documentation issues, more user issues, more usability issues. We drove those issues back to Larkin, and it was amazing what happened. Within 2 days, I believe I sent them the issues on a Friday. By a Monday, we had new product, we had new box, new CD-ROM, new user guide, and also a new placemat from that company. The following week, they actually flew an engineer in from Taiwan to work on finalizing some of the more technical issues we found together.
That's good. You think you can say that again in about 20 seconds?
Okay.
So tell us about the relationship with Larkin.
Larkin is a great partner to work with. We found some issues with their product in a very short period of time. On less than a weekend, we found the issues. We found about 7 or 8 issues with their product. We took the issues and sent them to their company in Taiwan. They sent us, in less than 2 days, they sent us PDFs of new placemats, new CD-ROMs, new documentation, and a new box. The following week, they flew an engineer in from Taiwan to actually work some of the more technical issues with the lab, and ultimately the customer got a much more powerful product because of the partnership between us and the company.
Okay. How about another real life scenario? I'm sure that wasn't the only.
Oh, of course not. One of them.
And before we take a break, let's change the notes. Okay, let's give them a little touch up. A little touch up.
So James, tell us about relationship with Largan.
Largan was a great company to work with. We actually, Dell decided we were going to enter a partnership with Largan. They wanted to bundle the Largan camera with one of our PCs. We started working their issues, and we had less than 24 hours to come up with a choice of whether we were going to go with Largan or not. We found a couple of issues with their products, and we had to work the issues over the weekend. During the weekend, we shot some emails back and forth to Taiwan to work the issues. Taiwan, by that following Monday, Taiwan sent us a new placemat, a new documentation, new CD-ROM, a new box with all the changes that we had recommended. Then following that, they sent an engineer from Taiwan into our labs to actually go through and work some of the more technical issues with us. That's one of the benefits of this lab, is that we're working directly with the vendors, and not every company has those kind of wins.
Let me ask you this: was it really issues with their system? I mean, was it system really an issue, or was it a compatibility issue?
It was more a documentation type issue, the things that you wouldn't catch normally, the things that are going to make a huge difference to the customer. Leaving out a couple of steps or miswording a couple of steps in a placemat doesn't seem like it's going to cause a lot of issues, and during tests you wouldn't catch those kind of things. But customers are going to find that the most beneficial part, because if they cannot set up their product, then they cannot use it. So all the technical stuff that comes afterwards is useless.
So, did you find that did they have any issues with Dell telling them that there was problems?
No, they're actually a really good company to work with. As most companies we've worked with in the lab, they listened to us. We explained to them that when you make these changes to the Dell product, you're going to affect every customer that buys your product in or outside of Dell. We're giving them a really good view of what the customer is seeing. We've brought in some guys that are focused on the customer. The techs in this lab are really focused around the customer, not really the PC. And that's something that they didn't have. We're an outsourcer. We're here to help them. I mean, whether the Dell system looks great or whether the camera looks great, it really doesn't matter. What needs to look great is a combination of everything in a customer experience.
So you're really talking about not only assisting the customer, I mean, that's the end result, but Dell and our vendors' relationship too.
That's ultimately what it's about. It's about making sure that that the customer gets what they want, and the side benefit is that Dell and the vendor looks great.
Tell us about maybe one of your other relationships, about printers.
One of the first wins we had in this lab was actually.
And did somebody order a pizza? Okay.
And yes, I did order a pizza.
Instead of saying one of the first wins. Just don't make it sound like this is the first one we've ever had. Okay. Okay, James, tell us about some of the wins you've had with, let's say, printers.
Okay, great. One of the many wins that we've had with companies in the lab is with Lexmark, actually. Lexmark has been a strong partner with Dell for many years. We've been selling printers and all-in-ones from. We've been selling printers and all-in-ones from Lexmark for about 3 or 5 years now. Lexmark was releasing their first iteration of their all-in-one product, and they actually chose us to do some pre-release work with them. So before they even release an all-in-one to the industry, or they release an all-in-one to anyone at all, they dropped one in our lab, and they said, tell us what you thought. We sent them a whole lot of feedback, everything from the way the customer powered up the systems to the way the product was actually laid out physically. We started working those issues with Lexmark and established a really, really strong relationship. We corrected things that had to do with Windows XP, relationship with Dell computer and the printer.
I'm sorry. Let's try that again.
Okay.
And so, tell us a little bit about a relationship you've had with one of your printer.
One of the relationships that we've had with printers, and one of the relationships we had with printers was with Lexmark. Lexmark, in the first iteration of all-in-ones, they brought it in our lab and asked us, what do we think? We did some testing with it, and what was interesting about that is it was Dell's first real partnership with an all-in-one vendor. It was Lexmark's first all-in-one product, and it's also about the time that Windows XP was being shipped to customers. So you had a lot of unknowns that the customer could have had dropped on their desk. By working with Lexmark, we found a whole lot of issues with the compatibility of Microsoft's Windows XP, Dell's computer, as well as the Lexmark all-in-one. We worked those issues in a kind of a three-way loop using Microsoft, Lexmark, and Dell. And with that triad, we were able to solve a whole bunch of issues and prevent a bunch of phone calls as well.
What would that been like for the customer if you guys hadn't shot that before?
I think the customer would not have been at all satisfied. So many of the smaller issues, you get to a point in engineering where you're so focused on getting the big issues fixed that the smaller ones sometimes get put to the side, and the smaller ones can sometimes make a big difference. By focusing on the smaller things, the documentation, as well as the larger ones, we also drove some larger ones back. But by focusing on what the customer wants, not just the engineering, not just the mechanics, not just the electricals, but really what's going to make the customer happy, we're able to drive some solutions that made everyone happy, that prevented phone calls to Microsoft, prevented phone calls to Dell, and prevented phone calls to Oregon.
So do you have a specific example of one of those minor fixes that made a big difference in tech support?
Sure. One of the things that was happening is that...
And you can just do just a brief, you don't have to get too in-depth about it,
okay.
Just a brief little...
Very short.
For example, we had a cable or whatever. For example, we had a...
Okay. So just...
Yeah,
okay.
You're right.
Give me just a second, let me make
Sure
sure.
thing.
Okay. One of the things that we corrected was actually a driver interface. A step in the driver really had the customer confused on what to do. It was telling the customer to press this button to continue through a installation that was really misleading. It could have had the customer making a bunch of phone calls to everywhere trying to figure out if they should really continue through this installation or not. We worked with Lexmark to get them to clear up their dialogue. They had dialogue that was smaller, that didn't give the kind of impact that we wanted. We worked with them. They made the dialogue more of an impact. It had more of a statement in it. It gave the customer confidence to continue through that installation.
Okay, so let's try that again, and let's take it from this position. Shrink that down to just a tiny nugget.
Okay.
Lexmark had a driver that didn't work right for the customer experience. We worked with them, it was fixed, and that prevented a bunch of phone calls.
Okay.
No details.
Okay.
Just Lexmark had a driver problem during the installation. That's as much detail as we want.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Lexmark had a driver that was broken. It didn't work during the installation. We worked with Lexmark, they corrected the issue, and the customer's ultimate experience was improved and they were satisfied.
How about one more time?
Okay. Lexmark had an issue with the driver. It didn't work. We worked with Lexmark to get them to correct that driver. They made the changes, and ultimately the customer was satisfied, and we had a huge win with everyone's partnership in that.
Good. Let's go back and do the same thing with Larkin too.
Okay.
What was one of the major issues with their product?
Okay.
I think you said it's documentation.
Yes. The major issue with Larkin is that their documentation wasn't right for the customer. We worked with them. We worked hard over the weekend. Got a lot of. Okay. One of the major issues with Larkin is documentation. We worked with them. They made changes to their documentation. They sent it back to Dell from Taiwan, and ultimately the customer was satisfied, and we had a huge win with that company.
Okay. Can we try that one more time?
Okay.
Okay. Let's go back to Larkin.
Okay.
And was there one issue with their documentation?
Yes, there was. Larkin's documentation didn't account for the differences in Windows XP and Windows 98. We worked with Larkin. They made the changes that we recommend to make the documentation more XP-centric. They made the changes, shot it back to us from Taiwan, and we had a huge win that gave the customer a product that was compatible completely with Windows XP.
Okay. One more time.
Okay.
Maybe talk about, instead of compatibility with XP, it wasn't very easy for the customer to understand.
Okay. Okay. One of the wins that we had with Larkin is that they had documentation that wasn't very easy for the customer to understand. We worked with Larkin. They made some changes. They shot it back to us from Taiwan, and ultimately we had a huge win for Larkin and Dell.
Good. Talk about how, I think you mentioned earlier about, you want to start too? Sure. You're doing really well, James. It's really easy back here. Okay, James, you mentioned earlier about a benefit. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Sure. One of the things that we're able to do because of our partnerships with the vendors is we get customers sometimes that are escalated, not satisfied, or they can't get their product working. We're able to call up engineering, get with the engineering from that vendor, call up the customer, and actually do a three-way. We've done this many times where we've gotten on the phone with Lexmark, Dell, and the customer. Tell us what your problem is. Tell us how we can solve your problem, and tell us what we need to do to make you happy. We shipped them brand new systems, brand new printers, or whatever it took to make sure the customer is happy. But the important point in that is that we're focusing on figuring out exactly what's not making the customer happy.
Let's do that one more time, and right before you said that, we're in a perfect place to stop. Because you'd already said it.
Okay.
So, let's talk about the relationship again with the partners.
Okay.
And
one of the things that we're able to do is when we find a customer that's not satisfied, customer escalation is what we call it. The customer will call up Dell, say that they're not satisfied with the workings between their printer and their Lexmark printer and their Dell computer. We're able to call up Lexmark, call up engineering from Lexmark with the customer on the line and the Dell engineer on the line. Tell us your problem, how we can make you happy. They tell us, we take care of the problem, and it's that simple.
good. We do it one more time, just maybe a sec. Because of our direct model, we're able to leverage the relationship we built with like a Lexmark, which opens the dialogue in the product. I'm going down the wrong path here, but about how we can leverage this feedback. Okay. James, about the relationship with the partners and how it benefits the customer?
Sure. One of the things about that makes the direct model so powerful is that customers call up Dell when they have an issue. They call up Dell. We know that they purchased a printer and we know that they purchased a computer. We know exactly what their entire purchase was. The direct model allows us to talk to that customer, figure out what the problem is, call up the vendor that's our partner with that problem, work with the vendor, the customer on the line, and solve that entire.
That was good.
We can do a pickup.
I think he's going to get it this time.
Okay.
We'll pick it up one more time. It's going to be that, you know, and we can solve the customer's problem.
Okay.
It's that simple. Okay, James, one more time.
One of the powerful things about the direct model is that we're able to call up. One of the powerful things about the direct model is that when a customer has an issue, they call up Dell. Dell, we know exactly what the customer purchased as far as peripheral. We know exactly what the customer purchased as far as computers. We can call up that vendor with the customer on the line, ask them what the problem was, and solve it. That's the power of the direct model.
Let's kind of get a little more general now about the CART Lab. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do in here.
Ultimately, we make customers happy. We test a lot of products in this lab, though. We test everything from PDAs to printers, disks on drives. Okay, I need to ask a question about that.
Okay, go ahead. You want something? Want to ask someone? Okay, James, let's talk a little bit in general about this CART Lab. Looks like a bunch of scientists in here. What do you guys do?
We're at the lab at Dell to test the Dellware products, to test the peripheral products. We test printers, we test cameras, we test PDAs, all-in-ones, memory sticks, digital cameras, whatever the customer can buy to go with their computer. We make sure that compatibility works. We look at the box to make sure the box tells the customer exactly what they need. We look at the documentation. We look at the driver installation. We do everything. We pay attention to how many steps it takes to complete an installation. We've had vendors cut out half of the steps it takes to do an installation because we know that's what's going to make the customer happy. The customer...
Yeah, that's perfect. The next question is, why? I mean, what's the point?
The customer does not want to spend time installing products. The customer wants to use it. The customer wants to be satisfied. We do a lot of work around engineering to make sure that we have a strong engineered product. But what we're trying to make sure that Dell does is give the customer a strong user product, a product that really makes them happy. The customer does not, it's like an air conditioning system. The customer doesn't want to know it's there. They just want to make sure it works.
Okay. So, how long does it typically take for you guys to validate a product?
We can go through the tests in less than a day. Some of our more complex tests will take us a half week, 3 days or so. But most of our tests we can get through in a day. And during that course of a day, we run through about 50 to 60 test cases. So we do a whole lot of work in a very short amount of time to get through the test.
I'm sorry, we need to step in. What's the relationship with the vendor? I mean, do they get upset when you call and say, hey, such and such doesn't work?
That's one of the best things about working in this lab is that we get to work with so many different vendors and so many different companies. The vendors look forward to actually hearing from us, and it's weird because we're telling them their babies have warts. We're telling them that this product you've worked on so long, so hard, is not perfect. But I think that's what they want to hear. I think that's why they give us their products, because they want to hear the truth about the products from us versus the customer. They don't want the customer calling them and saying that your baby have warts. They want us to call them and tell them that.
Good. So it's a benefit for a lot of different people, organizations, Dell, the vendor, and the customer. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, one of the things that really gets, our group is focused around call avoidance. I can't say. Our group is focused around contact avoidance to make sure the customer doesn't need to call up Dell. We work with technical support for the different vendors. We look at their websites. We make sure that their websites provide the proper information. If it's not clean, if it doesn't tell the customer exactly where to go, we work with them on that. We work with them on their tech support telephone queues. if a customer is getting bounced around, if they call up Dell and Dell says it's a company X problem, company X says it's a Dell problem, we don't want that happening. So we call up that company and say, hey guys, let's work together, get the solution in one spot. So when the customer calls, that's the only place they have to call to get the solution to their problem.
You ever find that there's problems not with the vendor but with us, with Dell?
Oh yeah, we felt the same problem as well, and it's the same kind of relationship that we've worked with the vendors. We have to work with internal Dell as well. We found engineering problem with our own systems, or we've had to go out and work with some of our, many times in fact, we've had to work with our engineering teams here at Dell to get problems corrected. And they're just as enthusiastic to work with us as the vendors were. Dell, we want our problems to go away just as much as the vendors do.
And why?
It costs too much to have a customer that's not satisfied. I mean, the cost of having a customer that's not satisfied is not worth it. Everybody wants the same thing. If that's a customer that can walk out and say, "I've purchased a Dell. I'm happy with my Dell," and that's it. I mean, the entire solution is there. It's in a Dell. That's all I need.
Good.
There, I'm still looking Bob. Aren't there a couple of interesting dynamic the staffers that work here, the engineers? What's interesting about that?
One of the nice things about the guys we brought in from to work in this lab is that normally you have really technical geeks. I'm a geek, I can say that. We have technical geeks working in labs. We brought in guys and ladies into this lab that were extremely intelligent, but they are not computer experts. They represent the customer. They learn how to use a product just like a customer. They identify with products just like a customer would, and they don't have the blinders that are developed after many years of working with computers.
Good. So, do our partners do this too? I mean, do they have something similar to this in their facilities?
You know, one of the nice things about working with the partners is seeing them grow. Lexmark has actually started a group called Customer First, and it seems like it's come directly from some of the influences of what's happened in this lab. They've got an entire team that's now focused on trying to do what we do as far as representing the customer, getting things through a usability type test, figuring out really what's going to make the customer happy and what does the customer want.
Well, you just mentioned Lexmark. Can you give us an example of one of the wins for Dell?
Yeah, one of the great wins with Lexmark is their first iterations of all-in-one products. They came out and they had a great product at a great price. Unfortunately, the engineering wasn't there. It wasn't really the engineering, it was more or less the documentation, the smaller things that mattered. We worked with Lexmark, they made some big changes to their product, and ultimately we had a product that was a lot more solid and a lot more satisfying for the customer.
What about some of the other peripherals such as digital cameras? Have you had any wins there too?
Yeah, one of the companies that we really like working with is Largan. Largan was a company that came into Dell with big hopes. They wanted to get their product in Dell, a big player in the league. We worked with Largan. They gave us a product. We did some testing on it, found out that there were a few issues with it. After we worked with them for a little while, we shot something to their company in Taiwan over the weekend. They made a bunch of changes, gave it back to Dell. We approved the changes, but still had a few problems with it. They flew an engineer in from Taiwan. We worked the issues a little bit more, and ultimately it was a free bundle. I think it was like 40,000 units that we were going to be giving away free with our unit, with our computers. And ultimately the customer got a product that was a lot more satisfied, and it was free. And it's okay.
Have any of the processes that have been developed in this lab turned into the industry standards, or talk about the innovations that have come out?
So I guess you guys now have benchmark, or have some kind of benchmarking. Has that gone beyond the walls of Dell and now have been adopted by some of our partners?
Yeah, many of our partners have now come to us and asked us, what are some of these smaller things that we're... In fact, one company came in and said, we're not perfect across the board in your lab's view. Why is that? We actually told them that here's the reasons you're not perfect, because of these little bitty things, and they actually made some changes to their product that were that went out and beyond the ways that went of.
It's okay. Want to try that again? So have you guys kind of set a standard now that have been adopted by some of our partners?
Yeah, one of the things about this lab is that we're really picky about what we. One of the things about this lab is that we're really picky about what we give superior ratings to. One company came in and asked us, why didn't we get superior across the board? And we told them, here's the reasons why. They're not big things, they're the little bitty things that are happening. It's the fact that you have too many steps. It's the fact that your customers just aren't going to be completely satisfied unless you make small changes. They made these small changes because they knew that was what the industry wanted, what was going to be best for the customer.
Do you guys ever get direct calls from the customer?
Yeah, we actually do. We get quite a few direct calls from customers. Customers that, direct calls from customers and escalations. Customers that frankly have tried everywhere else and they don't know where else to turn. We get those customers on the line, we call up our partners, we work with our partners to get the ultimate solution and so on.
We'll try that again?
Yeah.
So, do you guys work directly with customers?
We do get escalations via tech support every once in a while. Customers that have tried to get their products solved via the vendor and via Dell's tech support and it just didn't work. What we do in that situation is we actually take the customer and do a conference call with the customer, with Dell, and with the peripheral manufacturer. We put all those products together and we start working it, and with the vendor online.
That's awesome. Maybe you should say something that, yeah, we receive calls quite a bit, and we're the advocate for the customer.
Okay.
We bring the customer and the vendor together to solve the problem. Something like that.
Okay.
Okay, tell us a little bit about some of the calls.
We do get calls from customers every once in a while. Our job is to be the advocate for the customer, to actually call up the vendor, get Dell on the line, get the customer on the line, and find a solution that's going to make that customer happy.
Good. Where I was kind of going with my thing was that we were in here talking the day that there's been some things like process and documentation that you guys developed or saw 3 or 4 years ago that now are just kind of standard. I mean, can you kind of expand on that? Because we're trying to get the innovations and that have come out of this lab that now are HP sends it out or Compact sends it out this way just because it's something you guys had suggested.
Okay.
Let's talk about innovation.
One of the things that we started doing at this lab was really focusing on simple documentation that didn't have a lot of words on it, and documentation that showed the customer in very short pictures, storyboards we call them, how to do the installations, how to get through an entire installation of a product.
So do you guys work directly with information development on this kind of thing?
We work with information development at Dell and also information development at the different vendors to work on these things. And the vendors have given us good feedback as well. They've told us everything from our card stock to the same kind of information we're giving them. So it's a two-way streak, actually. We give the vendors information, and in turn, they've really become comfortable giving us Dell information on how to make our products better.
If you could put it in one line, what's the benefit of the card lab?
The benefit of the cart lab is to be the representative of the customer. That's
okay. Why don't you go ahead and say that? Just with a little more passion.
Okay. That's a question.
So why? What's the real benefit of the cart lab?
The benefit of the customer. The benefit of the cart lab is to represent the customer. It's that simple.
You guys have any other questions? Okay. Very nice.
All right.
You can bring Hallie in now.
I've been torturing you.
Ray.